I'm calling to order this Board of Education special meeting, September 26, 2024, 7 p.m., Bath County High School Auditorium. This telecommunication is live streamed at www.bath.kyschools.us. Discussion and possible action on tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll have our Pledge of Allegiance and our silent devotion. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's take a moment of silent devotion, please. Thank you. Item 4 is our spotlight.
This time, Principal Hunt's going to make his way down for our presentation.
It's all about Miss Poe tonight. Miss Jamie Poe, an influential school counselor and the Kentucky School Counselor Association, KSCA, emerging leader for the 25-26 school year, is being recognized tonight at the Bath County School Board Spotlight for her outstanding contributions to education and student advocacy. With over a decade of experience in education and 5 years as a dedicated school counselor, Ms. Poe has built a reputation as a tireless advocate for students, families, and staff at Crossroads Elementary. In addition to her role as counselor, Ms. Poe serves as the Positive Behavioral Intervention and Supports, PBIS, coordinator at Crossroads, where she plays a key role in fostering a positive school culture and promoting social-emotional learning. Her innovative work includes applying for and receiving a grant to create a calming space for our Crossroads students, providing a nurturing environment where students can decompress and manage their stress. This initiative highlights her commitment to mental health and student wellness. As a KSCA emerging leader, Ms. Poe is poised to shape the future of school counseling in Kentucky, using her platform to champion student-centered policies and practices. Her dedication to the well-being of the students, families, and our staff extends beyond the walls of Crossroads Elementary, making her a value leader in the broader educational community. Her recognition tonight at Bath County Board Spotlight is a well-deserved honor for her leadership, advocacy, and unwavering commitment to creating a positive, supportive environment for all students. Now, obviously, that was a prepared statement that I just read, but just speaking straight from the heart, I've had the honor and privilege of working with Ms. Poe for 2 years now. She's amazing. I mean, we are so blessed to have her. What she does for everyone at Crossroads, from, the staff, students, just every single person that walks in that building, she helps in some form or fashion, and we're just very lucky to have her.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Congratulations, Ms. Poe. I'm sure she did a good job writing that presentation for you. Just kidding.
Item 5, Superintendent and Board Communication.
Prior to this meeting this evening, I did a presentation on the tax hearing. I'll not go over that again, but I just want to say that again, I'm very proud of this board for the decisions they've made and the fight they put up every single day for kids. I respect our audience and understand where you're coming from as well. There are no simple solutions to what we have to do, but there are roads that we have to take in order to get there. So I understand this can be contentious at times, but been treated with nothing but respect from people opposing the tax and respect those that are for the tax as well. And so as we move forward, we're just all trying to do what's right. And so regardless how it turns out, I'm thankful for everyone involved and your dedication to students in this community. Thank you.
Item 6, discussion and possible action to approve the tax rate on real and personal property for 24-25.
Barb, I have some comments I want to make. Okay, I know that we have heard presentations tonight discussing our tax rate, but at this point, this board is kind of in a no-win situation because we do not know what will happen in a little over a month from now in November, and we also do not want to overburden the taxpayers in this county. So I'd be very interested in finding a way to rescind the nickel tonight if it were to pass, in the event that the first nickel that's up on the ballot does pass in November. So I think there are ways that we can pursue to do that. So with that being said, I make a motion to approve the 2024-25 tax rate at 64.1 cents.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed? No. Motion carries. Discussion and possible action on approving the following items. August 26, 24 minutes, August financial statement, superintendent expenses, claims, use of facility, travel, grants, pay bills through September 30th, 2024, review of all monthly financial reports of all funds, the TAR report, migrant education memorandum of agreement, fiscal year 2025 working budget, memorandum of agreement with Cultivate, contract agreement between the County of Bath and Bath County Schools for school resource officers, retired police officer contract agreement for the 24-25 school year, memorandum of understanding with Gateway Children's Services, KDE agreement for school nutrition.
I'll make a motion to approve 7A, 7B, 7C, 7D, 7E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, O, P, and Q.
Hold on. Can you change that O?
You may want to include the O.
I took out-
Just seeing that, N and O, to pull those
I
for
both of
skipped
those?
N.
N and O.
And,
Yeah, please.
okay, so I'm gonna skip N and O. I'm not approving N and O.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, do I need to go back and approve it with the exceptions now?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm going to approve 7N with a motion to approve the consent item number 7N to pay $35 per hour for 185 days per year at 8 hours a day, and to table the formal contract for more negotiation and discussion.
That's item O.
And that's N and O.
Yeah. Good, thank you.
I'll second that agreement. Any discussion on those two items, N and O? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is public comments. I had a written response from Kim Carrick that she might want to speak as public comments. No. Item 9, discussion and possible action on the first reading of the revised policy 03.225, classified expense reimbursement.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the revised policy 03.225, classified expense reimbursement.
Have a motion by Carla, second by John. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, discussion and possible action of the 2025-26 school calendar committee formation.
I'll make the motion to approve the 2025-26 school calendar committee formation.
I have a motion by Brenda, second by John. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, construction update of the Chenault Building and the high school renovation.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you. A little update on the projects as far as the Chenault building is pretty well complete. That's part of what we call the levy package. You have some of that in the high school, so we sort of separate them by building. But Chenault facility is pretty well complete. We are working on the outside, finishing up the concrete, the canopy. I think they'll be back next week to start finishing that up. Hopefully, next couple of weeks, we'll have the top on that. And so that pretty much completes, we pretty much have that project complete. As I say, part of Phase 6 is part of the layback in the high school. And as far as the high school, things are going well. We're going to turn over some more rooms next couple of weeks, and we'll be beginning on Phase 5 and 6, finishing those, and Phase 7. We're going to come to a point, I'd say by the end of the year, we're going to be pretty much finished except for the gym. So there's going to be a gap there that, we may just, hopefully, I think we've got it scheduled for March 1st. Beginning on the gym, hopefully all the activities, the basketball and whatever else you may have going on, hopefully that'll be complete. And then hopefully around June 1st we'll be finished and do a final punch list and all that. So hopefully by the 1st of July, your project will be 100% complete. But there will be, looks like based on our schedule, probably going to be a gap in there where we may just have to shut down for a period of time and
On the gym, do we have, heat and air in there right now, or no?
Yes, yes, we got heat in there, right. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And it's 100%, right? Or, I mean, it's, no, the efficiency is not 100%. So are they having some issues there, or is that?
When did we get the air conditioning working? Was that recent?
I apologize, Ms. Bowling, but I'll have to ask Tim. Do you know the air conditioning, is it currently working? Air
On the
conditioning.
gym, when did we get that air conditioning working? Has it been just recently?
The heating and air in the gym is working. It's not at 100%. It has probably 6 different compressors, and some of them are not working. We've chosen not to fix them because of the expense and the upcoming replacement of that, but it is working on it. We are limping along just because of the task of getting it repaired. We didn't want to take it on with it being torn out in March.
Right. Is that the only area that's affected? Is that the only area that's affected by not having a full heat and air?
The main gym floor area, the locker rooms and all that are working 100%.
Okay. And the classrooms around it?
Classrooms, all the new stuff that is wonderful.
Okay.
It's working great. You know, like he said, they're still working on that now, and it's not 100% either, but it's going really well.
Okay.
Any other questions about the project itself?
So you said it would be, what, a week or two before they set the canopies?
That's to begin next week. That's what we've been told. It's been a struggle with this company. They're Alabama. They typically do a great job, but for whatever reason, it's been a little difficult task getting them on site. But they're supposed to be here next week.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Any other comments or questions? All right, turn it over to Jonathan here, I guess.
So I know that when it came to the gym being the last phase and that starting in March, just want to make sure that there are plans to relocate events in the springtime to keep the gym closed down, or does that still need to be identified for graduation and prom?
What specifically were you asking again? I'm sorry.
Has the district coordinated a way to put events that normally happen in the gym in the springtime to go elsewhere so we can have that fully closed off?
Well, like we discussed at the last meeting, Ms. Brandenburg would be overseeing that, but really we're looking at our options. They're very limited, so it's either find a place off-site that would host, have it on the field if weather was permitting, have it in the auditorium, and have secondary seating where it's videoed. But we'll have to do with what we have to do because we can't. The gym's got to be addressed at that time.
Graduation dates have been confirmed?
We're on a variable calendar this year, and so we don't have any, all we have are NTI days. We don't have bank days. And so depending on the weather, there's a few days that we could miss 10 if we call an NTI day for every absence. There's a few days in the calendar we could come if that we were scheduled to be off. But our last day of school off the top of my head is the 26th.
Yeah.
Liz, hold on, Liz. Huh? 17th. So whatever that Saturday is probably going to be graduation. So. Okay.
I mean, we'll make every effort to see if we can accommodate the needs of the school district, but we may have to work at night. I don't know, we see what the manpower is, but yeah, I'd hate for you to have to do something
Well, of course, it's a senior's year, and we want to have to do it with COVID. They may do, we'll have the best graduation possible and that we can have with the situation that we're in. But we'll do everything we can to make it a wonderful experience for the parents and the students.
Well, we'll try to do that as well.
Thank you.
So if we want to go to some of the other agenda items, we can talk through some of those.
Feel free. Yes. Do you want me to read them off to you? Or
Yeah, I'm not sure which one's first, but yes, please.
Well, let me put my glasses back on. The first one, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, ma'am, go right ahead.
The change order proposal for the sanitary napkin disposal adjustments.
Okay. So this one, for context, when the new toilet partitions were installed, it was realized that when a lot of the accessories were put into the actual stalls, that it might be a little tight. The reason that is the case is because the scope did not require to replace the toilets, and so because the toilets were already at a really tight spacing increment, the end product is a really tight stall. And so what you have in front of you are two pricing options to relocate the already installed sanitary napkin disposal, because right now they're basically at someone's shoulder, and they pretty much extend off of the wall maybe like 3 to 4 inches, so it's kind of really cramped. And the way that this is worded is that it would be coordinated with the contractor to figure out whether it makes sense to go further back, further forward, but something that is more comfortable when someone is seated. So again, it's a nature of it being existing toilets that required it to feel tight already. Had the toilets been replaced, we would have spaced them out in a more typical 3-foot spacing increment. The pricing number one, just to simply take what's there and move them, is for all, let's say, all 3 girls' restrooms that were renovated, is about $950. And if there's a preference to swap out the disposal can for a thinner shared can between 2 stalls, that would give you a little bit more space, but to do that change out and relocating it would be $2,500. Now, talking to Tim, there might be a way to do neither of these and have the district self-perform this, but it's at the mercy of if there's nothing else urgent from Tim to attend to. So I don't know if you want to mention anything else further, Tim, but ultimately, if the board feels it's better for the contractor to do this, the cheapest option is just to take what's there and move it either forward or backwards. But if it's not as much of an issue about moving it only, but ultimately getting something thinner, that is the second price option.
Any questions on that one? Tim, do you feel like you could get to that? And you can move them? It's just a matter of moving them correctly?
Yes, ma'am. So the simplest way is just taking it and moving them, but that doesn't make it feel less cramped because it's still going to stick off the wall by 4 inches. But that would be the simplest way to make it more comfortable without cutting a hole in the stalls themselves and putting like a thinner version between 2 stalls.
If they do that, if they move them, is there going to be holes in the petitions?
There will be not a complete all the way through hole, but there would be some, I guess, indention from where the screws were that either remain exposed if Tim does them, or if the contractor does it, they propose they would put some through-bolt metal in there so you would see that there was a patch, but there wouldn't be a way to see through it ultimately.
Because the goal for me would be that there would not be a hole there to where you can see the stall next to you.
Right, so
You know.
if the contractor does it, there would not be a hole, there would be a patch for sure. If Tim and his crew do it, I don't know like how they could fix it the same way, but there would be an intent to also patch it somehow. I just can't control what solution he might find that is a better way.
It would be the same process, whether I do it or if they do it, whatever. We'd talked about the problem when school opened up, and the principal and I had talked about it, and we were going to address it. Just hadn't got around to it. I thought that the problem had went away on it. I talked to some of the other ladies, and they didn't seem to have a problem with it. But anyway, either way you decide to go on it, we can do it. We can get new ones or whatever.
So there is containers there now?
Yes.
And everyone's saying that they're not having a problem with them?
Well, when I say everyone, I asked my wife what she thought about them.
Oh, my God.
She said that she didn't have a problem with them, but, I have to listen to one of my bosses, Miss Brandenburg, and, she doesn't like them, and some of the other ladies didn't like them. Some of the other ladies didn't have a problem with it, but,
Well, and I'll interject if you don't mind. The issue with them is it's got a lot to do with your body type. And so the way it is, if you're a larger person,
It would be a problem.
it's touching you.
yeah.
And that's something that, and so I agree with Ms. Brandenburg. But if I'm also correct, Mr. Ruiz, the smaller version, you actually cut a hole and
Yes,
it
sir.
goes in. So if a kid ripped that out, now you've got a window that
Yes.
So I would also probably suggest that if we can get thinner ones, whatever, I would be against cutting a hole. I would recommend not being in favor of cutting a hole in a stall.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you have the full, I think it's like a few sheets for this one. It would be page 2. After you see the description of what is being priced, you have like 2 diagrams showing a cheaper option, number 1, where we just literally shift it from the same wall it's on, but we're not cutting a hole. It's moving it down and patching where the holes might be from where it's currently listed. But it would be away from where anyone's shoulders might be and feel a little bit better. And it doesn't have to be in that corner. It could be further near the door, but either way, nothing is being altered on the partition. Just below that, we're showing that the product is something that has to be shared between 2 stalls, so you are cutting a hole through that partition and installing something that is going to go through. So if a student wanted to and had a lot of strength, they could take that thing out, and you would ultimately have a way through to see someone next to the next stall.
But there's no way you're actually going to totally get rid of that. It could happen, the hole could happen with either one of them.
The second one is actually a true, maybe 6-inch by 6-inch true opening hole.
Okay.
The option 1, we're talking about not even a hole that you can see through, but a screw kind of deviation from where it used to be attached to the wall. So I'm going to call that more of like an indention that we could cap, but that's if you just move it. The second option, you are legitimately cutting a bigger hole that could ultimately, once that disposal can is gone, will be an easy visual connection to the next stall over.
Just imagine 4 little domed
Yeah.
stainless steel buttons on with the
Yeah,
hole.
you would have 4 buttons, patch any screw indentions that were from where they currently live. But if option 2 is taken, you have those from where it was patched, and you're physically having a new hole cut out for a recessed can to be shared between 2 stalls.
Okay.
But as Tim said, he feels that he can handle basically option 1 if the board believes it's better for it to be self-performed.
Kind of a no-brainer, yeah. The second one is the change order proposal for PR 21 Chenault Shop Lab new egress light upgrades.
So for that one, that was we did not anticipate the state inspector to flag that one. So number 1, in the Chenault building, the scope was not to improve any of the egress exit lights. It was just to do some other kind of low voltage upgrades. But when they cut the power and they were seeing what was the proper way of guiding people out, They noticed the existing ones that were there were not going to cut it. So the price you have in front of you for about $943 is to change those out, those existing exit lights with new ones that have egress lights on them. And then the contractor would turn around and give the existing ones over to the district to have and reuse anywhere else. So it was not in the scope. We're surprised that the inspector requires it to be done. And to do that, they're swapping out the existing exit lights with ones with egress lights on them.
Then the, okay, go ahead.
Quick question. So the new ones will only have, it's gonna be an exit sign, but they're just gonna have an egress light shining off the bottom of them? Is that, am I understanding correctly?
I'm not sure about the exact product, if it's on the bottom or if it's on the top, but somewhere or another, the egress exit lights will have a light attached to it for sure, for when the power cuts off, it shows a way out of the building.
Okay.
Anybody else?
There's a lot of things that we get grandfathered in, and the assumption was this would be grandfathered.
Yes, sir.
And then the electrical inspector said absolutely not, so he kind of overrode and put us in this position.
Correct. Another scenario would be if the inspector wanted to, and we were doing flooring in the hallway in that double height space in the old main entry. Technically, anything related to the stairs is grandfathered in until we start touching the stairs, and that would be the way we would be required to upgrade it. So that would be the same thought process here, is that, well, we didn't touch egress lighting at all, so we thought we were grandfathered in. However, this inspector thinks it's required and important, even though it was not in the purview to do, that it's required to be done in order for him to be satisfied with the work happening around in that shop area. But you're correct. Normally, stuff like this would be grandfathered in and not an issue, but we're always at the mercy of who the inspector is and whether they're willing to accept that or not.
Okay. Your next one is the change order for PR 23, mechanical room exposed ceiling modifications.
So to clarify that, we are now talking about a part two to what the board considered, I think maybe 2 months ago or maybe last month. So the first part was to approve a price to remove the ceiling in order for the contractor to do all of the work for all of the mechanical lines going throughout the building. This part now is to not add a new ceiling in. It's to say, it's to address all of the required piping supports electrically that the electrical inspector requires to be addressed, and all the openings around it addressed now that the ceiling is exposed. So the first one was required because the contractor couldn't do all of the new mechanical and electrical runs. So that was the first price you saw. This price now is to make the electrical inspector satisfied now that there's no ceiling, that all of its electrical work is supported and properly taken care of now that it's exposed.
Any questions on that?
The things that you've proposed here, and I understand exactly what you're talking about, but have we got everything that we think that it will take to satisfy the inspector when he comes back?
Short answer is yes. We, during each of the past 3 progress meetings, reiterated, like, we don't want it to be multiple change orders, which is why I was hoping we could wait for the ceiling demolition to be approved around the same time that this price came in, so it wasn't multiple Band-Aids. Short answer is yes, this is the last one, and it's because we wanted to make sure that no other entity who was coming through the building, whether it's electrical inspector or building inspector, that they didn't have any other issues. So we did check with both of those, and this is the only piece that remains. It's making sure that the electrical inspector only is great with everything being exposed now.
The-
So what Tim is saying is that, number one, we talked about exit egress lights. The same electrical inspector is the one also making us do these pieces in the mechanical room. And there's a potential third issue that they're pointing out with a compressor being in a closet already. That compressor got changed out, and the same inspector is saying we can't keep it in the room that it's always been in because it's within 3 feet of the electrical panel. So ultimately, this inspector is making sure that we address all of his concerns.
I understand completely. The modifications in this mechanical room, original construction, when was that?
Of the mechanical room itself?
Yeah.
It was a part of the kitchen. Pretty sure it was phase one, so it was like 1988, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 1990, 87.
Okay. So it's original?
Yes.
Okay. So we're just in new standards. We're
Correct.
crossing standards that were not there in 1987, so 88.
Two things. Correct, the standards are different, and before, they were able to do what they were doing because they were closing it off with a ceiling. And so, in another world, if the ceiling was already removed, and it was going to stay removed, we would already have to make these upgrades that are now being pointed out, but we wouldn't have known about them now because we didn't know that the ceiling had to be taken out until we realized we had to take it out. So both are accurate standards, and it's because now there's no ceiling to cover it up.
And then we have the BG1, the new canopies at Crossroads and OES. An update on those.
So to help clarify what all might be required, we first started with looking at how the bids for the Chenault building canopy that connects to the high school, how much that cost, and it's actually pretty similar to the scope that would be anticipated for at least Owingsville Elementary. It won't be as much replacement work as needed for Crossroads because we're not talking about tearing down too many existing items at Crossroads. We're just adding pieces. All to say, the BG1 is showing a estimated project cost of $2.4 million, and that is to get a bus canopy for about 5 buses and a car canopy for about, I think, 5 or 6 cars at both Owingsville and Crossroads. The cost also includes additional sidewalk replacement work, underground stormwater, site lighting upgrades when it comes to the canopies, and some asphalt rework when the canopies go in. So David's mentioning, yeah, it does, yes, correct, that the canopies are going to be both how they align against the buses themselves or the cars themselves, and then only at Crossroads specifically because the backside of the building is kind of like distant from the actual roadway. It's going to be almost like a T-shaped canopy where you have it along the road and then a segment that connects from the canopy to the building itself. So Crossroads is going to be, out of this entire thing, it's going to be a little bit more than half of the cost because it's got a longer run to make it from the road to the actual front of the building and from the back bus road to the, I think, gym or cafeteria part of the building. While Owingsville should be pretty straight shot on the cafeteria side or the gym side for where buses and cars line up. I could probably go more detailed about it. All to say, 4 total canopies, 2 at each school. And some costs in there to do some underground storm, lighting, asphalt, and sidewalks.
Will OES have a car drop-off?
OES, yes, it will have a canopy drop-off, yes. OES and Crossroads would have a car drop-off and a bus drop-off.
Where are you doing the underground storm?
The intent is for both schools. We looked at the site drawings for Crossroads. It looked like there's plenty of capacity in the storm system on, I would say, what side is that? The side that's away from the gym, for the front and the back. The Owingsville one is a little bit challenging. If the goal is to still do car ride drop-off near the cafeteria, the front part of the building, there's one existing storm line that is actually pretty shallow, so we're not sure if we can really connect to it. The drawings indicated they're maybe like 2 feet deep, maybe 18 inches deep, and we don't know if we can really hit at a proper incline to make that tie in. We'll try our best. For the gym side, I think there was a new storm structure added when the gym was added, so there should be easy way to tie that one in. Hopefully that answers your question, but we're trying to do it at every single canopy. The only one that's kind of tricky is the canopy for car drop-off at Owingsville's cafeteria. That one, we're not sure if there's adequate coverage for a line to really tie into the storm line.
I have a question about funding. I mean, this is quite expensive. It's more than we were told the last time, which has been some months ago. Is the money for this going to have to come from our current bonding? Or is it going to depend on the nickel tax, or how is it going to be paid for?
Brittany might be able to clarify this sooner. When we talked to our fiscal agent, all they mentioned was that it would have to be out of the local bond sale, and that there's like a limit for that. So we're under what that limit is, but I don't know too much about whether it's going to be from the nickel or not. I just know the fiscal agent said it would have to be only from the local bond sales. Is that pretty much accurate? Okay. Okay, so what I'm hearing is it would not be from the nickel. It would be from what's already present in the district funding, but not from the nickel.
Okay, thank you.
If the nickel fails and we renovate the middle school, we will bond out and be at zero. And so this is, the original plans of Crossroads was to have canopy. We're 11, 12, 13 years behind. So if we bond out and then we're trying to keep putting money in the middle school, try to upkeep it, we'll never have to do it. So it's something we need, and so we're going to try to do those, asking to do those together. We'll knock this out. The nickel passes, we'll have the money for the middle school, and our bonding will recover very quickly, and so it'll be doable either way.
And I will clarify that this is a cost opinion based off of little information we got from the drawing set now. Once we start to design this and we find out, oh, we don't need to have 5 buses lined up against this canopy, it could be 4 buses. Or once we know more about like what the realistic goal is, this number might adjust more realistically to a solid number. But this is us looking at if everything had to be done without knowing any complications of soils or limits on where foundations are. This is going to be all-encompassing asphalt and concrete pavements and underground storm and lighting. But if the budget's not there and we can't do underground storm or can't do some site lighting or asphalt, we'll make sure that the board's comfortable with either doing alternates or not including it in the scope.
And when you mention asphalt, I think I'm correct, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. That includes, if you've ever been in the high school, oh yes, you know, when you pull in there, it's disaster. That includes all the way out to the road.
Yes. Rough numbers are that I think mill and overlay is about $19 a square yard, and recent bids are roughly saying the size of a football field is probably about to be like $100,000 alone, and that parking lot is not a full football field. So the numbers in here is plenty for any asphalt for at least the front and some parts of the gym side. But again, when we get closer to like knowing what the goals are, we might determine that it's better to do underground storm instead of all of the asphalt, or vice versa, maybe all of the asphalt and no underground storm lines for the canopies or lighting or something else. So we can alter what the goal is, but this number, this 2.4 million project cost should do canopies and the associated pavement work and lighting and storm work for those canopies.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And I'd like to thank you and Mr. Rhodes for coming this evening. I know you had probably had plans, but I appreciate both of you coming this evening.
So item 12, a discussion and possible action of the change order proposal for PR 20 sanitary napkin disposal adjustments in 3 restrooms for the Bath County High School LAVEC Phase 2 Project BG 22-520.
I'll second it.
I make a motion to table this item 12. You second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discussion and possible action of the change order proposal for PR 21 Chenault Shop Lab new egress light upgrades required by the inspector, the cost of $943, add on the Bath County LAVEC Phase 2 BG 22-520.
I'll make a motion to approve item 13, the change order proposal for PR 21 Chenault Shop Lab new egress light upgrades required by the inspector, $943, add on the Bath LAVEC Phase 2 BG 22-520.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by John, second by Carla. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, discussion and possible action of the change order proposal for PR 23 mechanical room exposed ceiling modifications at a cost of $7,628.18. Add to the Bath County High School HVAC renovation BG 22-376.
Second.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action of a BG1 for new canopies at Crossroads and Owensville Elementary Schools.
I'll make the motion.
To do what?
For the possible action of BG1 for new campuses at Crossroads and Owensville Elementary Schools.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Are we approving these to be built or to go ahead with this?
No, we are just approving the BG1 to be submitted.
Okay. Just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
So when they're talking about drainage issues out at Crossroads, are we going to mess up what we spent a lot of money on fixing beforehand?
Got to learn to sit closer to the microphones.
Tim mentioned that we'll be tying into the existing storm system there. I will say that anything that needs to go underground, if you're talking about like the existing asphalt work or concrete work for the sidewalks, yes, that will be disturbed, but it'll be replaced once the canopies are involved. But stormwater-wise, we'd be tying into the actual storm system that's present on site.
So how much are we messing up out at Crossroads after we just had that redone?
One more time, sorry.
I said, how much are we messing up out at Crossroads that we've already replaced on the new stuff?
You won't be messing up anything, you'll be tying into it.
Right, but he's talking about asphalt work and sidewalk work and,
But that'll be replaced. They'll be replacing the asphalt and the sidewalk, anything that's messed up.
Correct. So like for the front entry, I'm assuming that you would want for the canopy to go from the road area down to the front door. So anything along that road where the canopy would sit, that concrete would have to be ripped out, canopy set, and the new concrete for the sidewalk replaced. And then the concrete from the canopies to the building door on the backside or the front, all of that length would have to be torn out, canopy in, and then new concrete on top of it. So in theory, we're interfering with all of the existing sidewalk along the road and towards the door, but it wouldn't be like unfinished. It would be just replaced once the canopy is complete. So I don't have an exact answer on like square footage or linear foot of repair work that has to happen, but it's anywhere eventually when the canopy is laid out, that entire route has to be redone, and then anything underground when it ties into the storm line, that trenched area of the road has to be repaved just to repair it. I don't have a quantity though.
All I was gonna say, Eric, you know, a lot of the work around back now, that was not, I don't think we touched that last time. It was all the front. It was all that asphalt. And like you say, you did spend a lot of money and guarantee on that, and it's turned out well. Pardon?
so if they touch that, the guarantee's out of the window.
Well, yeah, I think it's beyond the period. I think it's what, a 3-year, typically you get a year, but I know in that specification it was very clear. You wanted a 3-year warranty on that, but I
Right,
think
but
that's
there's nothing wrong with it right now though, correct?
No, I think it's good, but I think he's just talking about if we have to, and it's very preliminary, if, not sure where all those underground lines will go in. Not sure where we'll have to, may not have to bother the parking lot. I'm just not sure. I know there's some storm lines, I mean, to the right, if you're looking at the school. I don't know where, exactly where we have to tie in with underground lines.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? We're adjourned.